Hey, what's going on everyone? It's Token back with a brand new video. As you know how we like to start out every new week with a new Showdown live, and we do like to have special guests every time we do come back on Showdown. Fortunately, we're not always able to do that, but this week we do have two very special guests I am honored to have with us today. Before I hop into introducing them or allowing them to introduce themselves, I do want to say two things really quickly about why there weren't an episode going up, any videos that went up on Saturday and Sunday. Saturday, I was partaking in the Melbourne Challenge, which was a very well-ran tournament by Zelda VGC. Shout outs to him for running that. I wanted to focus heavily on that and try to perform well, as things like this aren't something we have a lot of in the VGC community, so it was really cool that we even had this opportunity. I started out 2-0 and things were looking good. Then I played Laho and he had like a mirror of my team and it threw me off so much. He had like a Carton over Finney. Anyways though, I ended up going 3-3 and dropping in the tournament, but it was definitely a valuable experience, and that's why most of my day was taken up with that on Sunday. And then from there, one of my really good friends it was his birthday, so I wanted to spend time with him. And then on Sunday, I was just reflecting on the channel and thinking of how to go about bringing new content and everything to the channel. So I do apologize, but we are here today, so thank you for supporting today's episode of our Showdown Live. Definitely subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because we have a lot of VGC content on this channel for those of you who are interested in VGC. Enough of that though, let's just get right into introducing our guests. So whichever one of you guys just want to introduce yourself first, go right ahead.
Okay, I guess I can go. Hi guys, Eduardo. You can call me Edu. I recently got a top 4 at the World Championships. Also made top 32 at the London Internationals, and got top 4 at the same Melbourne Challenge Jeremy talked about. I guess, yeah, I'm Portuguese. I'm 18, and I'm glad to be here showcasing the team Drew and I worked on together.
Awesome.
Okay, guys, my name is Drew Nowak. As I'm gonna take a little away from Edu's credit there. I had no part in building this team whatsoever. Edu just gave this team to me like 10 minutes before my flight took off on the day before the regional. So a lot of thanks to him for that. But my accomplishments are, of course, I did win the Dallas Regional this year, and I won the St. Louis Regional last year. In 2016 as well, I got top 24 at the World Championships. I lost 2. You guys are talking about Zelda's tournament. Zelda was actually the person who knocked me out of Worlds.
Oh, wow.
But the year before that, in 2015, was my first year, and I top cut St. Louis that year. But I really appreciate you having us on here, Jeremy.
Oh, yeah, of course. I appreciate you guys taking time of your day to even do this. This is honestly a really cool thing to do, especially because I wanted to shine a little light on this Dallas Regionals team, as I know you've been really busy and haven't been able to really write reports or do much on it as of yet. So I definitely wanted to be able to, I'm honored to have the opportunity to be able to be the one who gets to bring this team more to the public and see exactly what about this team made it so successful at the Dallas Regionals. But all right, I guess we should just hop right into the first Pokemon. So if you just have the team, maybe with all the sets and everything in front of you, we can just start running down that.
Okay. This is definitely Edu's part of this.
Yeah, I'm set, so you can go ahead. Yeah. First I started when I got the first idea I had was to build a solid trick room team with Porygon 2. I saw that Ray Rizzo was using an interesting Porygon 2 Mudsdale team on his YouTube channel, and I thought it was a really interesting concept that I wanted to work with. So I started off with Porygon 2, Mudsdale, and Salamence. Those 3 together seemed to cover each other very well, as Mudsdale suffers with the grass and water types, which Salamence resists. Porygon suffers with the fighting types, and Salamence resists that. I also can intimidate the opponent's Pokemon, so I can set up the Trick Room, and under Trick Room I can sweep with Mudsdale, and Porygon 2 works both in and outside the Trick Room. And that was a good point to start in, as I had many options. I had the Salamence for a faster mode and Mudsdale for a slower mode. And then I started with Mudsdale, and I started with Mudsdale. And then I started with Mudsdale, and then I started with Mudsdale. And then I started with Mudsdale, and then I started with Mudsdale. And then I started with Mudsdale, and then I started with Mudsdale. And then I started with Mudsdale, and then I started with Mudsdale. And then I started with Mudsdale, and then I started with Mudsdale. And then I started with Mudsdale, and then I started with Mudsdale. And then I started with Mudsdale, and then I started with Mudsdale. And then I started with Mudsdale, and then I started with Mudsdale. And then I started with Mudsdale, and then I started with Mudsdale. And then I started with Mudsdale, and then I started with Mudsdale. And then I started with Mudsdale, and then I started with Mudsdale. And then I started with Mudsdale, and then I started with Mudsdale. And then I started with Mudsdale, and then I started with Mudsdale. And then I started with Mudsdale, and then I started with Mudsdale Then I figured that maybe I was struggling a bit against opposing Celesteela. Water types were also not easy to deal with, so I thought that Tapu Koko was a good addition to the team, as not only does it beat pretty much any water types, it also deals with Celesteela, and it offered a faster mode to the team. That's exactly what I wanted to accomplish, because I wanted to use a Trick Room team, but not a fully committed Trick Room team, as often those teams rely too much on those 5 turns where Trick Room is active, which are basically 4, because one of them is used setting it up, so it's basically 4 turns to deal all the damage, and I feel like that's a bit unreliable, as it depends on dealing all the damage on the 4 turns, and as soon as Trick Room ends, they're on the lower end of the speed advantage. They're pretty much on the speed disadvantage. That's not very positive. As such, I felt like this was the best approach. Porygon 2 is also a Pokemon that can work both inside and outside of the Trick Room, so once Trick Room ends, I'm not really struggling, and I can not even set up Trick Room if I don't feel like it. So yeah, that's why I added Tapu Koko. It helped a lot with that. It also allowed me to counter-attack the opponent's terrains, as I could set up my own. I could prevent sleep induction moves like Sleep Powder, Spore, and all that. And I felt like it would fit very well there. Then I wanted something for Trick Room, and I've been wanting to use Araquanid for the longest time. I felt like with Tapu Koko's slight weakness to ground, and since I didn't really have anything to eat ground types like Mudsdale, for instance, or I don't know, like maybe Garchomp. I had Ice Beam and Dazzling Gleam, but even then, I felt like it was good to have another resistance besides Salamus. So like I felt like Araquanid was fitting very well there. Also, Araquanid is kind of a water type that has the advantage against other water types, since it resists the moves, but it has a second stab. So like basically it can't be burned by Scald, which is used because of the ability Water Bubble, and that allows like automatically, like they can't use the burn chip damage to win on a mirror of water type against water type. And I have the Leech Life or the Lunge. Drew used Lunge, I used Leech Life to continuously deal damage and recover. So that felt appealing as well. Araquanid is just a really strong Pokemon in general due to its ability. Doubling the power of water type moves is just huge, and it really benefits the advantage of Trick Room. So then I felt like I needed a faster Pokemon that could patch up any weaknesses I could have. I felt like Kartana was the best option, since first of all, I had thought of using the duo of Koko and Kartana for quite some time, since that duo is I believe is really strong, because they're both fast and they both hit very hard on pretty much anything on the metagame. Not just like it's not just like as you can see, like there are some flaws, because we have a steel type that struggles with fire types, and Koko doesn't really beat the fire types. But for this metagame, I think they're good enough together, since basically if the opponent doesn't lead a fire type, the duo has a huge advantage. And even if they do, Arcanine takes too much damage from Thunderbolt, and if they don't have a recovery berry, basically I can just Thunderbolt and Sacred Sword the Arcanine and KO it. That's huge. So like it's a really strong duo. It deals damage fast, and it's hard to stop. Once Kartana also starts getting boosts, I can just start KOing a lot of stuff, and I felt like it was the perfect opportunity to fit it in. And everything seemed to have a really solid defensive synergy, which is something that I value very much. It's something that I'm always worried about, having good switch-ins, all that, since, you know, I have even though I was lacking a fire type, which was something that was annoying me a bit, I felt like I couldn't really give up Salamence, and like I had both the water type and a grass type. I had a dragon, a steel, and a fairy type, which is a common type core that works very well since steel is weak to fire, but dragon resists fire, and then dragon is weak to fairy, but steel resists fairy, and then fairy is weak to poison and steel, but steel resists both poison and steel, so it's a solid core, and it's good to have. So all around, I felt like the team had a lot of options, and that's something that I like to have on my team's options, and like I felt like it could be strong. I started practicing with it. I was lacking it, and eventually I got very used to it, and I decided to give it to Drew. Drew needed a team. It was my best one, I believed back then, and I really think it is an amazing team. So yeah, I guess it worked out for him, and I'm glad it did, because I think it's a really solid team, because exactly as I said, because of the options.
Yeah, I like all the different options you have. You have a lot of solid switch-ins to where you're definitely not really dependent on Trick Room. As you said, with these faster options, you can really just go power with your two faster options and try to just outpower other teams. But then at the same time, you do have Pokemon like Mudsdale and Porygon and Araquanid that do work well in Trick Room, and Salamentos provide Intimidate to make your Pokemon take moves a little bit better. And I just think that there's solid defensive synergy here, even though you don't have that fire, water, grass core. And yeah, I like the team a lot. I think we should just dive right into the exact spreads on everything. So if you just want to start with Porygon 2, we can start with its item, then its moveset, and then its EV spread.
Yeah, of course. So yeah, this Porygon is like, even like I felt like I needed to survive something very special in this metagame. And this goes back to like the London International, where I felt like the Golduck Pelipper core was a good call, because people weren't used to it and didn't know what it did. But then, like after that, I felt like people could start to want to use it. So, and having myself experience with the duo, I felt like the main weakness was Porygon 2 and Trick Room. Unless they don't survive the double target from Z Hydro Pump from the Golduck and the Scald from Pelipper in Rain. Most actually, like, you need a lot of investment to survive the double target, and I felt like in the beginning of the metagame, not many people would EV for that because they didn't really know about it, and I felt like it was really important to survive the double target. So that's what the EV spread does. It's exactly enough to survive Hydro Vortex from Hydro Pump, from Golduck in Rain, modest 252 special attack, along with or followed by this Scald in Rain by modest 252 special attack Pelipper. So like yeah, it's a lot of investment, as you can see. So yeah, but I felt like it was necessary, and I didn't really find anything else worth investing besides that, and I felt like that was just too strong not to survive. Then
touch on this P2 real quick.
I
really appreciate all the special defense you do, because round one, I pulled a guy using Aaron's San Jose team, and of course, I thought he'd lead double duck. What does he lead? Double duck. I lead. Oh, dude, he's like, oh, okay, this is good for me. It's like he was a newer player, so he kept like telling me his thought process and all. I mean, I didn't really, but he's like, okay, this is a good lead for me, and he goes for that double water move into P2, and it survives like easily, and he's just like, wait, what? That's not possible. Like how? And then just both games, like he kept P2. I was just able to set up Trick Room in front of double duck, and then just go from there. So yeah, this P2 is definitely really clutch in my early rounds, because like there were a lot of teams that just had nothing for it. But like as the tournament went on, I mean, I started to use it a little bit less and less, but whenever I did bring it, it was very effective. So like, I know a lot of people aren't a fan of all that special defense investment, but it's really worth it because it won me a lot of matches at Dallas.
So what exactly
Yeah.
was that special defense investment, if you don't mind us diving into the spread?
No, it was exactly the. Oh yeah, you have it there, right? It's the 244 HP.
244
And
Yeah.
one.
HP.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you had it. Okay, sorry.
I actually
Yeah,
don't. It's
240.
fine though.
Okay, well, 244 HP and 188 special defense
88 special defense,
with 76 defense.
76 defense. No problem.
Yeah, and sassy nature.
Sassy nature, not bad. And then what was the move spread, real quickly? I heard ice
Yeah.
beam.
Ice beam, toxic,
Toxic.
recover, and trick room.
Not bad.
Okay. And for the Dallas variant of this that I ran, I actually had Thunderbolts over Toxic
Oh,
because
Yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted to know, because I was actually like really afraid of opposing Arachnid, and just being able to hit that with Thunderbolt as well as Celesteela, I felt was really important for this team because Arachnid can be a very big issue for this if I give it Trick Room for some reason. So I didn't really want that to be a potential option for them to abuse.
Yeah, I felt like I while practicing, something that I always considering was like I was always considering the Thunderbolt over Toxic. It was something that I was always debating which one I needed the most, and I felt like I needed Toxic because of opposing Porygon 2. I'm just usually really scared of very defensive Pokemon, so I like to have that option. Toxic is also a move that I really enjoy using because I know that if I put the opposing Pokemon on certain situations, I can just straight up win if I just go for Toxic and then recover again and again. And yeah, that has won me many matches before. So I really like Toxic, but then again, actually, like very often, I felt like Thunderbolt could have helped me so many times because it hits Celesteela, it hits Arachnid, and those are just some examples. Yeah.
Yeah, I really do think that electric coverage is really solid in this format, and I actually had the most success with this exact same Porygon moveset in Ice Beam and Thunderbolt for coverage. It's just it's really solid, but at the same time, I definitely can understand the utility in Toxic when you're facing opposing Porygon 2s, and as well as Gastrodon, which is another Pokemon that likes to just sit there and recover, another Pokemon you'd like to be able to Toxic. But at the same time, though, I can see why Thunderbolt helped you a lot throughout the regionals. Moving on, though, let's hop right into our Mudsdale spread. What exactly did we go through on this? I know it's a Pokemon that a lot of people are probably interested in seeing.
Okay, so the Mudsdale I used, like, I could have tried to UV for something, but since I had the Assault Vest, I felt like I wasn't really, there wasn't, like, anything that I really had to survive, so I just went with 252 HP and 252 attack.
Okay. And
Yeah, with a
for
special, I think that maybe defense would have been better, but special defense allowed to be more balanced. So I had on Showdown I have 4 on special defense.
Okay.
But yeah, thinking twice, maybe on defense could have been better to improve my matchup against opposing Kartana. Like, not many people use 252 attack Kartana unless they have Sash, but like if they have Assault Vest, they usually have way less attack, and my Mudsdale will survive the Leaf Blade anyway. I know of a spread that survives the Leaf Blade from opposing Kartana, but I felt like many times I was getting KOs by a very slim margin. I really needed that much attack, so I couldn't really give it up.
Makes sense. What was the nature?
Brave.
Brave, not bad.
Yes,
And then
it was, yeah.
the moveset.
Yeah, it was Earthquake,
Earthquake,
High Horsepower,
high horsepower,
Heavy Slam,
heavy slam,
and Rock Slide.
and rock slide.
I considered using Close Combat, but I really didn't know what to take because like Rock Slide helps against like flying types that you sometimes face, like Pelipper, like some less common stuff. There's like Talonflame, and sometimes I could just like break a Sash on a Pokemon and pick up the KO on another one, or Rock Slide was very useful oftentimes. And even if I was in a tough spot, I could fish for flinches, which doesn't happen very often. But if I feel like I need it, it's an out that I have and that I can rely on if I really need to. So yeah, that's the move slot that I could see myself taking for close combat, but at the same time I needed it so much that I couldn't really replace it.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And at the same time, close combat does lower both your defense and special defense, which really isn't the best. So I can see why you'd rather go with a few other options and try to see how you could work with those other than trying to go with close combat. Sorry that I cut you off there. What did you have to say there?
I was just saying, yeah, I definitely think I never clicked Rock Slide once at Dallas. However, it was I played a round 7. I played Patrick Smith, and he had a Braviary on his team. So, I brought Mudsdale in the back each game. It never actually came out because, I kind of cleaned those games up pretty quickly. But having that Rock Slide for those games was having Rock Slide for those 2 games and a couple other ones was really nice, knowing that I had that backup option as a good solid spread move where I didn't have to hit my partner. And flinches are always great, so it just really depends on what you need for your team, honestly.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with that. Let's move right along into Salamence though.
Yeah, the Salamence was Dragonium Z with just 4 HP, 252 special attack, and 252 speed with a timid nature. And basically, I don't feel like it's worth it to use any other kind of spread for this item choice and this moveset. Unless, you could argue that maybe Modest could fit, but, I feel like the speed is essential, and the difference on damage output isn't big enough to justify losing the it's not speed type, losing the speed war against opposing Salamence and another 100 base Pokemon. Actually, something that sometimes comes up when I'm facing opposing Tapu Lele. If my opponent has a team around Tapu Lele Arcanine, I could just lead Salamence Kartana, and automatically I'm threatening a KO with a double target on either Pokemon if they lead Arcanine Kartana. Arcanine Tapu Lele, because I can't just go for Smart Strike and Flamethrower. Since I'm -1, I wouldn't normally KO, but with Flamethrower I should be faster, unless it's Scarf. But it should be faster than Flamethrower it, and if I predict that slot to protect, I can use the Draco Meteor. Draco Meteor onto the Arcanine and Sacred Sword as well. So having that speed is nice on that situation, so I can outspeed Timmy Tapu Lele. So yeah, that's pretty much a justification for the EV spread.
And it was Draco Meteor, Flamethrower, and I know Protect. What was the other move, just to make sure on that?
Substitute.
I thought so. Just want to make sure. All right, not bad at all. Yeah, this is obviously reminiscent of the exact same Salamence that Woofy was using early in the format that looked to be really solid. And a lot of people have a lot of negative things to say about Salamence in the format, but I think Intimidate is still easily one of the best moves to have, considering that it lowers the attack of both targets since this is doubles. And Salamence just with its flying typing also just provides so much resistances and switching for the team. So I'm actually still very fond of Salamence, even though a lot of people do have a few negative things to say about it.
I'm definitely one of those negative people on Salamence.
Why is that?
Especially after this regional. Salamence was such a frustrating Pokemon for me in that tournament because it either just absolutely destroyed people, or it was the most useless thing that I've ever used. Especially towards the later rounds in Top Cut, because basically every round I just kept playing Tapu Fini and stuff, and so many teams had answers for Salamence, and it just felt kind of useless. And I never felt like I clicked Substitute whatsoever with it at all. So wasting a move. I really don't like wasting move slots on a Mon. So, I mean, but in this format, I don't really know what Salamence is supposed to run in that fourth move set. I mean, yeah, it had its utility with Intimidate, because that saved me a lot. However, I don't know like if it just having Intimidate would like justify me and like redo the regional.
That makes
like, I might
sense. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like Salamence helped a lot with some fire types, which is very key when I wanted to go with a fast mode, since most fire Pokemon are like faster than my Trick Room Pokemon, and my Trick Room Pokemon are the ones responsible for beating the fire types. So if I wanted to go with the fast mode, I needed something to hit the fire types that could attack first. So that's where Salamence was very clutch. But mostly in the very beginning of the meta, when Feeny was pretty much inexistent, and like the problem with Feeny is that it decreases the power of the Draco Meteors, and then I'm pretty much stuck with Flamethrower on a Dragon Pokemon to deal damage against the Water type. That's just not very solid, but I felt like if the opponent didn't have Feeny, Salamence could be a complete powerhouse. But with as Feeny became more and more popular, it became harder and harder to use the Salamence. But yeah, I definitely feel like it could be really strong if the opponent didn't have Feeny. So.
Yeah. The prevalence of Finny is something I just kind of wasn't thinking about right before I said that I still like Salamence, considering that, yeah, with Finny being on a lot of teams now, it's definitely it's pretty much a solid answer to Salamence, considering that it can it resist, well, it can't even be hit by Draco Meteor, and then the fact that you do have to rely on that fire type move to deal damage on it. So yeah, it makes perfect sense. And I have also seen that exact same issue with Salamence, where it looks like it either destroys in a matchup or it doesn't do absolutely anything. So I understand the nitpicks, but I do think that it has definitely certain situations and certain niches that do still justify using it, especially Intimidate. Moving along though, we have Tapu Koko. What exactly were we running on Tapu Koko?
Yeah, it was Life Orb.
Life Orb, not bad.
Yes, and the EV spread was just like plain 252 speed, 252 special attack. I had 4 on special defense.
Special defense. Not bad.
Yeah, timid.
And then the move spread.
It was Protect, Discharge, Thunderbolt, and Dazzling Gleam.
Alright, not bad. Dazzling Gleam.
Yeah, so yeah, it's basically like the standard Tapu Koko. I've the move slot of Discharge is the one that maybe could be be polished maybe, because Discharge was a move that I really like to use on special Tapu Koko, because if there was Lightning Rod, I'd be stuck with Dazzling Gleam to deal damage, and with Discharge I can just bypass it, and the early meta call of Marowak next to Gyarados could be ignored by just using the Discharge and KOing the Gyarados either way. So that was something I liked, and the spread move in general, spread moves are very strong in VGC, so it was something that I really wanted to use, and it was working. It came clutch a few times, so I just kept it. But thinking twice, maybe Volt Switch could be better. I haven't tested it at all, but I don't know. Marowak is way less common. Marowak was the main Pokemon that was making me reluctant about Volt Switch. But now that Marowak is way less common, maybe Volt Switch could be a good move to replace Discharge with. But then again, I think Discharge is just solid option all around, so you can't really go wrong with Discharge, I don't think.
Yeah, considering you do have the Mudsdale, so you do at least have something that doesn't actually take damage from the Discharge, so I can see why it can work. And then, yeah, Marowak was extremely common early in the meta. Now it's fell off the existence of the earth, but early in the meta definitely had its time where it shined, so I can see why you wanted to have an option to bypass that and kind of catch your opponent by surprise. So not bad at all. We can move right on to Arachnid, considering that Tapu Koko is pretty self-explanatory, so we don't have to stay on it too long. So exactly what are we running on Arachnid?
It was a citrus berry.
Citrus.
Yes. The EV spread was just 252 HP, 252 attack, and 4 special defense with Brave Nature. And zero IVs in speed.
Zero IVs in speed. Let's do that.
Yes.
Was that the same with the Mudsdale? Was it zero IVs?
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot. So yeah.
You're fine. And then the move
basically
spread,
like
the move spread really quickly. It was liquidation, leech life, and what else?
wide guard protect.
Wide guard protect. Thank you.
But Drew used lunge instead of leech life.
All right, I have a request. Can we name this Can we nickname this Arachnid MVP?
MVP. Yes, we certainly can. And you used what instead of leech life? Sorry, I didn't really catch that.
Lunge.
Lunge. Yeah, no problem.
And like my justification for lunge was like leech life is great for the recovery. However, I felt like it was kind of like overkill since it was running citrus berry, and I felt like I could get more utility out of lunge, and I definitely did because lunge saved me in my top 16 set against Cameron Jihadi, and it won me a couple Swiss matches. So I definitely don't regret changing the bug move whatsoever on it.
Actually, like when I gave the export to
you had
Drew,
poison.
I actually had poison jab on the first draft, since it helped with Bulu and Tapos in general. But I told him like right away to change it to a bug move, and he chose lunge. I chose leech life. So.
And also, the move I want to touch on for Arachnid is wide guard. Wide guard was such a good surprise move on it because coming into it, everyone was expecting like Anash's Arachnid have like disease stockpile shenanigans and whatnot, and like they would expect me, and they would just play assuming that the fourth move was that stockpile, and just being able to pull out wide guard in certain situations was just really clutch. I mean, I know the biggest instance of that was in finals against Colin, where I had Arachnid Salamence facing down a Metagross and Arcanine, and Arcanine was forced to go for a Snarl because he needed to get the weakness policy boost on his Metagross, and the only way he could get that was living a -1 flamethrower, but because of wide guard, I was just able to prevent that and take that game. So I think wide guard is definitely the best move on Arachnid for that last slot, in my opinion.
That's solid because I actually I missed a lot of the Dallas Regional stream considering I was working during it, but I actually did catch that game where you predicted the Snarl and went for the wide guard, so that's good that came in so clutch for you.
I definitely agree. Wide guard is amazing. And not many people actually seem to expect it, so it's solid. I guess we can
move right on to Kartana, the last one.
I want to touch on my Salamence remark earlier.
Oh, okay.
You know how I said Salamence was useless in matches?
Yeah.
Well, it was useless in my round 7 match against Anash in team preview, but then it actually became useful when I could discharge it with my Tapu Koko, so I could hit his Tapu Fini and KO the Marowak. So it was great for self fodder. I will give it that, at least.
Okay.
That's the best compliment Salamence is getting. That's hilarious. All right, and Kartana to round out this team. What were we running on Kartana?
Yeah, it was Focus Sash. The EV spread was just plain 252 attack, 252 speed, and 4 in special defense with a Jolly Nature.
And the moveset, what did you draw?
Yeah, just Leaf Blade.
Leaf Blade.
Smart Strike.
Smart Strike.
Sacred Sword.
Sacred Sword.
And Protect.
And Protect. No.
Exactly, and Kartana was just like, Leaf Blade allows to pick up KOs on cool stuff like Kartana walls opposing Araquanid, and that's like not walls, like it doesn't take much damage despite not having any investment on the defenses. So that's nice, and being able to tweet KO opposing Rakonids was huge. The steel move is great against the opposing Tapus, like Tapu Bulu and mainly Tapu Bulu and Lele, as it's super effective against them and deals a lot of damage. It just Oko's Lele and does a lot to Bulu. And Sacred Sword helps. I think like it's stable, the staple third move, as it helps too much against certain Pokemon like Snorlax, Porygon2, even sometimes Incineroar, against of course Celesteela, opposing Kartana. So it's a great move that I think it's the most useful non-stab move that Kartana gets.
Yeah, it definitely. It's usually neutral on a lot of Pokemon that resist its 2 stab options. Just wanted to throw that in there.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's about it. It's standard Kartana, Focus Sash Kartana, so that's not much about it. It supports the team well. It deals good damage. It's strong, very strong.
It's such a good Pokemon in this format.
I think I brought Kartana to every game except maybe 2 at Dallas, just because its type coverage and just offensive pressure put on was just so great. Whether I wanted to play the fast mode or I just wanted to set up for the Trick Room mode. And Focus Sash on Kartana was so nice. Just knowing you can take any fire hit at least once was really reassuring. So
that is solid. All right, so just a quick, brief recap of the team. We had Eviolite Porygon 2 with Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, Recover, and Trick Room. This is a staple of the team in that it's extremely bulky and mainly one of the ones that can actually take extremely powerful moves when it's double targeted by 2 extremely powerful moves, especially like we were just talking about a popular team or archetype at the time in Double Duck. It's able to take 2 powerful moves from the Golduck and the Pelipper and then set up Trick Room. So just a staple of the team that's able to just take a lot of damage but still stay on the field due to reliable recovery, and then just 2 little options in Ice Beam and Thunderbolt to give it a little bit of offensive pressure and not make it too passive. Then we have Mudsdale with the Salt Vest, which allows it to have a little bit better special defense, considering that its defense is really solid, especially when you add on stamina, its ability. Then we had Earthquake to double target, then high horsepower when we didn't want to hit into our own Pokemon, Heavy Slam, and then Rock Slide for double targeting. Then Salamence with the Draconium Z, Draco Meteor, Flamethrower, Substitute Protect. Just a kind of standard Salamence moveset for this format, but still solid. Draconium Z pretty much allows it to have 2 Draco Meteors, but without the special attack drop on the first one. And then just Substitute as a third move. It's kind of filler at this point. No one really knows a solid third option for it. But Intimidate, still very solid in this format. Then Tapu Koko, very standard Tapu Koko, just running Discharge over the usual, what was the usual move? I don't know. That's the third move is usually a toss-up, so Discharge or Volt Switch and stuff. This team had Discharge since it did have a ground type that didn't mind being discharged into. So, and then just standard Life Orb. Tapu Koko, very strong Pokemon in this format, especially with Electric Surge up. Then Araquanid, who we have nicknamed as MVP with Citrus Berry, Water Bubble, Liquidation, Lunge, Wide Guard, and Protect. Wide Guard to support the team when it surprise support the team in some senses, and then Liquidation, and then Lunge, which surprisingly came in a little bit more clutch, considering it does have that 100% chance to lower target's attack. And then last but not least, just standard Focus Sash Kartana, considering with a 181 base attack stat, it is very, very threatening and just puts a lot of pressure on your opponent and forces them to bring certain Pokemon to the format, so then to the matchup, so then you're able to play around that. But all right, any last thoughts we want to add on to the team before we just try to hop in a few games and showcase it a little bit?
I think like I don't have anything to add, so I don't know if Drew does.
Anything for you, Drew?
I still think this is definitely a really solid team, but I think if you were to try this out, if you want to try this out yourself, I'd definitely do what Edu did for the challenge and run Arcanine over Salamence. Just Arcanine, in my opinion, is a much better Intimidate user, and the Snarl abuse from it is really nice to help just make everything bulkier. I mean, Arcanine is such a great Pokemon, and Salamence is. So
Yeah, I want to add on that. Yeah, actually, Arcanine was like a really good call for the Melbourne challenge, I think, because like I felt like with the rise on the usage of Tapu Fini, like you couldn't see that Tapu Fini usually had a Kartana to support it, and the fact that I could just go with like Arcanine and Araquanid against those teams meant that I could start using Snarls to decrease the damage output of Fini, threaten the Kartana, which Araquanid fears, and then basically they didn't have much for Araquanid because they rely on Kartana and Tapu Fini to beat the Araquanid, and since I'm checking both of them, I can just start chipping away at stuff with the Araquanid while decreasing their damage output, and that was something that I really appreciated. But like, it depends on the medical that we do, and of course, since I didn't have Salamus and I had the Agua Fairy Arcanine, I used Z move on Araquanid, the Watarium Z, and like I hadn't really tested it before the event, but I used Citrus like right before the tournament. But I felt like Z move was also an awesome choice because it allows me to have another option against Celesteela, Mach, and many other Pokemon. It just does so much damage, it's crazy. So yeah, those are a few changes that I made. I kept everything else, I believe. Yeah, everything else the same besides the move on the item on Arachnid and Salamus to Arcanine. So if you wanna go ahead.
Okay, that makes perfect sense. I could see how Salamence could, especially giving you that actual Fairy Water Grass score. I could see how that could, and then especially just because how solid Arcanine is with supporting and being offensive for a team, with Snarl just being such a solid move in this format with a lot of threatening special attackers. I want to do the team justice as exactly it was at the regionals, and as well as I do think there's a few things that might need a little bit switching around if I was to add Arcanine, considering that we do still have Earthquake, and I don't know how much the team would like Earthquake without Salamence and stuff like that. So I'll keep the team in its actual form as we test it here on Showdown, and as I bring it over to the Battle Spot ladder and try to just see what I can do. Keeping the team as its original form is what exactly won the regionals. But if I was to build off of this team, I would definitely take all of that into consideration, considering the meta has progressed a good amount since then.
Yeah, I'm searching.
Okay, perfect. There we are.
All right, so interesting. This team reminds me. Not really. Okay, so he has some elements of different teams, and
this stuff I've seen like on BattleSpot, like what some Japanese players are running. It's like Nihiligo Gigalith Trick Room mode, which is scary, but
it
might not.
Okay. Yeah, it looks really weak to Mudsdale. He only has Kartana for it, and if you take care of Kartana, we're good. He also doesn't have. Okay.
I think P2 Kartana here can work as a lead.
Yes, I was thinking of that exactly.
Then honestly, I think we just go with like the same four we brought last game, but maybe I don't know, like Araquanid and Mudsdale are like really good here. But if Tricken goes up and if we're able to deal with the Gigalith.
True.
I mean, if we have Mudsdale, it's not that big of a deal. Like, I'm just debating between Araquanid and Salamus, or even Coco. Like, anything seems to work here.
Coco is definitely better than Salamence here, I think.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, I think maybe just go with Coco in the back, just like in case we can't get the Trick Room up.
It's mostly because of Kartana, you know?
Yeah.
Scares me a bit.
Okay,
so we see that his Coco is faster than his Lele, so he's either a very slow Scarf or not Scarf.
Wolfie, why do you have to make us think this is a possibility?
Yes, okay. I think, like, I don't think, like, okay, unless he has Taunt. Do you think? I don't think he goes for Taunt. Even if he does, I don't think he goes for Taunt here.
I mean, it just really depends on what the Lele item is, honestly. Like, if he is Choice Scarf, then Coco's definitely taunting P2, I think, but...
Because like it doesn't gain anything from like protecting and taunting P2 because Kartana is still on the field threatening.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, I agree. Like, just Trick Room
So, like-
Smart Strike, I think, is the safest play.
Yes, but like what I was thinking was like Trick Rooming and sending in Mudsdale because Mudsdale is amazing against those two.
Yeah,
That's
I think
also
that's
an
fine.
option.
Like
I
if it doesn't work, it's not the end of the world. So
I think, yeah, Mudsdale is definitely a little bit safer.
oh, he actually
Okay,
just
he's going
is he Z
Shattered
move?
Sight.
Nope.
Oh, no, he's Scarf.
Okay. Okay.
He's
That was a, what? Hidden Power Ice? Oh, it was Hidden Power Fire. Okay, makes sense.
He can't protect Lele probably, so I'm thinking of just heavy slamming and ice beaming that thought because he doesn't have a switch in for that double up.
Yeah. Agreed.
Okay. And if we KO Lele, the ice beam is just redirected.
Edu, why does this one have Toxic?
And we get a crit.
Yeah, that doesn't matter at all. It scales
Yeah.
unless he's like 252 and like really bulky.
This game reminds me a lot of my round 4 set at Dallas, where he had double Tapu thing
Hey.
go, and Mudsdale just like had a field day.
Yeah. So yeah, here I think I'm just going to ice beam the Coco to cover for a possible switch and earthquake.
Yeah, I was just saying, you lose nothing by EQing yourself.
Nice.
My Mudsdale was also great that game because I think I dodged 5 Gastrodon fissures. So
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so here I'm thinking of just earthquaking and ice beaming the Nihilego. If I KO the Nihilego, I just don't have to worry about Kartana because Coco and my own Kartana beat it. So
Yeah.
Yeah. Just good. And just beat. Oh, and we get the crit. Okay. At this point, like okay, Leaf Blade.
And
Doesn't
that's
KO.
GG. Well, the team's looking extremely strong right now. This isn't the heights on the ladder, though, so that definitely makes sense. Once again, though, thank you guys so much for coming out for this. I definitely really appreciate that. And I definitely, like I said, I really wanted to shine a little bit of light on this team, considering it did win a regionals. So this was fun. Like I said, I will be bringing this team onto the battle spot ladder and seeing exactly how far I can get this team up on the ladder. So hopefully I can do this team a little bit of justice. Definitely want to serve this team well, considering how good it is and how many different options it does have. If you guys have any last thoughts, anything you want to add on, any maybe the Trainer Tower blog that you might have coming out, you might want to say something about that. Anything final thoughts you guys want to add to this, feel free to go for it.
Yeah, look out for that article. I don't know when it's going to be up. We haven't started it yet, but I just really want to say thanks for having us on here. It was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, this was lots of fun.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, it was amazing. Definitely worth my time, and I'm looking forward to rewatching it now, and yeah, I'm sure it was great. So I hope we were helpful to your viewers and to you as well, and to anyone watching. So yeah, and thank you for giving the team and us the attention.
Oh yes, of course, no problem at all. And yeah, this is going to be great for my channel, considering you guys are definitely two very solid VGC competitors. So my viewers will definitely enjoy seeing this. I can't think of any last thoughts that I have to say for the team. Just look out for the battle spot episodes that we should have coming up. I'm going to edit. It's still Monday night right now, so I'll edit this, and it'll probably be out probably during the afternoon of tomorrow. I wanted to get it up at a time where I think it'll have high viewership, so be on the lookout for it then. Thank both of you guys for coming out, though. This is me signing off. I'll see you all in the next episode. For now, though, peace out. Have a good one, everyone.